Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Let me see. Where is everybody? I can't see the chat yet. I'm trying to get the chat up. I have no idea what you guys are saying. Let me get the chat open. I'm going to see if I can watch it over here. How is everybody doing? Watch it over here. How is everybody doing? All right. Watch it over here. How is everybody doing? All right. We are live. Watch it over here.
Why does it look blurry though?
Does
it look blurry on your end? Let me see.
All right. We are live. Watch it over here.
No, it doesn't. We're good. Why does it look blurry though?
Does it look blurry on
your end? Let me see.
All right. We are live. Watch it over here.
No, it doesn't. We're good. Why does it look blurry though? Does it look blurry on your end? Let me see.
All right. We are live. Watch it over here.
No, it doesn't.
Awesome.
Why does it look blurry though? Does it look blurry on your end? Let me see.
All right. We are live. Watch it over here.
No, it doesn't.
Awesome. We are hearing you
Why
twice.
does it look blurry though?
It's because I have it on YouTube. I have YouTube open on this. See, I'm trying to make it so I can have YouTube open on this computer as well, but it looks like I can't do that. I think we're good though. We should be good now. We should be okay. It's better now, right? You guys can't. The problem is I want to get YouTube up on this screen so that I can talk to you guys over here, because I'm talking to you guys over here right now, right? I'm talking to you guys right now. I'm reading the chat right now, but I'm looking over here. So I'm trying to make it so I can look over here and talk to you guys, or like towards the camera, but I can't do that. Anyway, no big deal. Welcome in, guys. It is a beautiful Tuesday morning, and there are a lot of moving parts today to talk about, right? As it always is. But welcome in. Welcome. You need to meet one of them. You know what? That's probably what it is. We'll try it tomorrow. We will try it tomorrow. It's okay. We'll try it tomorrow. There's no big deal. It'll be fine. Be okay. So, lots of stuff happening this morning, right? Look at the title of the live stream this morning. It is the one major level to talk about. The one major level to watch today. And it really is just that today. We're going to talk about it. The main thing today on the S&P 500, which we'll talk about, is 662, right? And you guys probably knew I was going to say this, but that's just really what it is. If you zoom into what's going on here on the charts, it is 662. So we're going to talk about this in a minute. We'll go over what's going on here on the 1 hour, on the 4 hour chart, but this is the major demand. And we had some downside yesterday, but let's not get caught up because it's downside back into key demand. Okay? That's the one thing to speak about going into our Tuesday morning. We are going to talk about the QQQ, right? We'll go over Qs. QQQ being back in demand as well. We're going to go over Nvidia. We'll go over Nvidia strength. And, this is the pivotal moment on Nvidia, is where we topped out yesterday. 183.5 is the colossal 10 out of 10 level. If you don't believe me, go to the 4 hour time frame. Look at what's going on here. Highs and highs and highs and highs and highs. This is the decision-making point on Nvidia. Again, at the same point as previous. What's going to happen here? Does it finally break out? If Nvidia breaks out, SPY is going to turn into an incredible long today. That's just simply what it is, okay? So we must remain unbiased. I think that's the most important thing, because we must be fluid like water, okay? That is what we'll talk about today here on the SPY chart, okay? Nvidia, of course, as well. We'll go over AMD. AMD shit stock. Once a shit stock, always a shit stock. Look at AMD, big upside yesterday over the highs. It worked out, but then what happened into the close yesterday? It sold off like nothing happened. It sold off like it didn't just break a key level. That was absolutely wild to see that it just did that, right? So AMD doing what AMD always does. Amazon still in the gutter. We'll go over Apple, still strong, pulling back to some key demand zones. Apple could be a long. Apple is still setting up for longs. We'll go over some other names as well. Tesla topping out yesterday. Major rejection, a little bit of a pop and fade yesterday at the open. We'll discuss Tesla today going into our Tuesday morning. So what I want to do is I want to make my face smaller, okay? And we're going to, wow, look at that. One little click One little keyboard click, bam, and we fixed it. So that's just incredible. All right, so econ data for today's session is, you can see, it doesn't look important today because you look at this like, not so important, but the 10 o'clock data is going to be really important. Now, yesterday, I was long before 10 o'clock data. I was long S&P before 10 o'clock data. 9:59. I'm like, you know what? Shit, I'm out. I sold. I got out. I got back in. I made the money afterwards, right? The one thing that you're going to realize is any moment you're in a trade that becomes a gamble, that becomes a 50-50, is the moment you should sell that trade. So that was me yesterday, was basically just in the trade before 10 o'clock. And then after 10 o'clock, getting back in because the trade's still valid, right? And this is key thing to note yesterday. On today's session, 10 o'clock data, we have jolts. Jolts is big, right? So expect market reaction there. Besides that, we have consumer confidence, also 10 o'clock, Chicago PMI 945. It is also end of month today. So obviously this is going to be a big volatile day. And we have Trump speaking at what time? At 11 o'clock, right? So Trump is speaking at 11 o'clock. Where is that? You'll see it somewhere here. I believe he's speaking at 11 o'clock. I'm hearing that he's speaking at 11 o'clock. I don't see it on Market Watch. I don't see it on Econo Day, but there are rumors of him speaking today. So check the White House website to confirm this. Don't quote me, but that is what I'm expecting today is 11 o'clock. Trump is speaking. He's addressing the White House, so just be careful of that 11 o'clock data, right? So 10 o'clock data, 11 o'clock data, it's a big session today. Let's be aware of that going into our Tuesday morning, right? In terms of our earnings reports, you guys know it's Nike after hours today. That's all it is today's session on this Tuesday morning. Anyway, what I want to do is I want to check right now. Let me make sure, because this is important. Trump speaking today at the White House, right? I believe he is, but I want to know. Yeah, okay, so he is speaking today. It is confirmed. So he is speaking today, Tuesday, September 30th. I just don't have the exact time, but I want to see in the chat. People should know this, right? People should. Where is it? Where we need like a fact checker in the chat. We need to appoint a data fact checker in the chat because this is something we absolutely need to have. But I am 90% confident that it is today at 11 o'clock. Okay. Yesterday it was the same thing. So people are saying Chandra and Burns are saying 11 a.m. So that's just what it is. Okay. So 11 o'clock data today. Be careful. Today's going to be an important session. On the charts today, okay, this is the most important thing. This is why everybody's here. Here on the SPY chart, you can see SPY. Yesterday's session, it did something, and I just adjusted something. Let me just fix that. Okay, so yesterday's session, you guys saw something very important happen yesterday, right? And what was the important thing? The important thing that happened yesterday was just gap fill, right? So we were pretty open to the idea of the market doing this yesterday, right? After a big gap up in the market, what is the thing you look for in a gap up? In a gap up, your main thing should be, let's look for the pullback long, right? So the pullback long yesterday, this was probably, everyone's watch yesterday was simply just looking for demand pullbacks. The demand did come in yesterday, right? There was demand that stepped in. You can see the market did react to our levels yesterday. If you look at where the previous session high was, the previous session high on Friday, the 26th, was simply just 662.40. If you look to see what the market did yesterday, it just basically bounced off 662.40, right? You saw a beautiful little recovery here, a little V shape. Upside move, right? Call it whatever you want, but this is a wim wham for me, right? A wim wham under 662.40, sweep under the lows, reclaim ripper upside, move back in highs, right? So that was what happened yesterday at the 662.40. Now today's session here on the S&P 500, you can look at, well, first of all, yesterday too also was supply rejections. If you wanted to go long, short yesterday, you could have shorted the highs and got some nice reaction. You could have longed the lows. I actually longed here yesterday at 10:04. This is where I longed yesterday on the market. I got a little pop into supply. It failed the supply. I ended up going short here and got a little bit of a downside move into close. So this was my day yesterday. Was basically this. It was long, it was short, and then I could demand it was long. And that's what it was yesterday. Okay, so today's session, and notice something. Notice that you're always doing something around levels, right? Anything in between here and here and here and here is just nothing, right? There's nothing happening in these zones. So if you're watching anything today's session here on this pie chart, you are watching to see what's happening here back at this demand, back at this Friday high demand from last week. This is what it is all about today, right? If you zoom into the 15-minute time frame now and get a larger view here, well, you had a gap up in the market here on Monday. The gap up was filled at 662.40, and the market maintained demand. And this morning you were seeing what? A maintenance of demand, right? And if you were to ask me something, right? I still have my SPY position open. I do, right? So I have it still open. But to be honest with you, this is still bullish, right? This is still bullish here. And my intention is probably stop out if I see it clear back above Monday's highs, right? Because Monday's highs is at key level now. And more importantly, the question you ask yourselves is this a long right now here on the SPY chart? Is this a potential long right now on the S&P 500? And where is that long opportunity? Okay, so the answer is yes, it is a long, right? This is a long. This is a gap up into a demand zone. This is a long by all means. In fact, that's why I made this whole video, that the live stream video was the one major level to watch today is 662.40 to 662. It is this demand between here and here that we must watch today as tactical demand. Now, is there a short opportunity? Yeah, there is. There was always short opportunity, right? But it's going to be under these lows as the main short opportunity. And if this happens, this is going to be the best possible short opportunity for the downside move back into 660. And this would be a break in trend, and we can short all the way back down to these lows over here, right? So if you're watching for shorts, this is your top watch. If you're watching for longs, it's here, right? This is where it is. It's right here on the chart. In fact, if we break above this high right here, 663.40, this is the second level to watch today, right? There's one level to watch today. The two level to watch today is this level right here. If you want confirmation on longs today, right? So let's just say, for example, you don't trade futures, because right now, if you're long futures, you're happy right now. But if you don't trade the futures, like I'm not trading futures today, and you want to look for longs on the S&P 500, well, the second watch to watch now is going to be, do we break and hold above 663.70, right? This level right here is the next level to watch out for. And why is this level so important? If you go to the 5-minute time frame, you can see that was where we produced a series of holds yesterday, right? If you zoom into this, you're going to see, look at this chart right now. It is very clearly a hold spot. Now, this is not a major technical level of resistance. This is not a major technical level of demand. This is just a small intraday level that would confirm the longs. So what I mean by that, right? This is a big level, a 10 out of 10 level. This is a 10 out of 10 level. This is probably a 7 out of 10 level, right? This is a level that it's an intraday level. It's not an hourly level, not a daily level, not a high or a low, but it's a median, right? It's a hot and cold temperature gauge in the market, right? So if you want to look for longs today, it's either going to be longs right here, right? This is your long number one, or it's going to be long on a break and hold above that temperature gauge for the move higher back into 665, which again would be a 10 out of 10 level. So those are your long plays. Number one and number two is longs. Where are your shorts? Your shorts are going to be back over here, right, at 665, or it's going to be back under 662. That's just what it is today here on the market. And those are the scenarios that I'm watching for today's session. I can promise you something today, okay? Tomorrow, Wednesday at 8:46 in the morning, right? You and I are going to hop on the same call, the same YouTube, and we are going to talk about something. Either the market is going to do this and we're going to confirm the downtrend, or it's going to do this and we're going to go rip back in highs. I expect big movement. I do. I expect big movement, and one side is going to be right and one side is going to be wrong. I know that's always the case, but it's more so apparent than ever going into this Tuesday morning, right? So a big move is going to happen. I think it has to clear this high for confirmation or under this low for shorts. That is what I'm expecting here going into this Tuesday morning. On the ES chart, let me get some water before I start losing my voice. On the ES chart, it's the same thing, right? You can see the FOMCI level was a level we pulled back into yesterday's session, right? That was the demand. That was when the market set up some longs yesterday off of what level? 6,700 ES. This was the long spot that we spoke about yesterday. Imagine you just waited all day yesterday and said, you know what? Brett spoke about this demand yesterday. He said the gap up in the market, if I want to go long yesterday, look for longs back at 67. This was the first tap at 67 was almost what? It was almost a 14 equity move here, 14-point move here in the ES chart. Nothing crazy, but this is nice. Right? This is scalpable. Now today's session here in the ES chart, you can see we are yet again holding 6,700. And for me this morning, this is what I'm planning. I'm planning to launch longs today above these highs for upside, or I'm planning to launch shorts under this level for a downside. That's what it is. Either one or two. Those are the plays I'm focusing on today's session. Now, of course, right now, 6,700 is a bullish hold here. This is a bullish hold. You have a gap up in the market, pull back to demand zone. You're holding demand, upside. I would expect upside. I really would expect upside. But of course, if we lose 67, then that ideology, that bull ideology is going to fade. It's going to fade quickly. And we'll see a push back into FOMC lows again, right? So expect some big volatility today's session. You have Trump speaking, you have jolts, you have consumer sentiment. These are some big contenders to watch out for today's session. That they move the market, but you also have levels that are very clear going into this Tuesday morning, right? Let's move on the QQQ. On the Qs chart, so we made an adjustment yesterday on the Qs. Was it a mistake? Could you argue we made a mistake yesterday in the Qs? Because if you look at the Qs, where did the Qs bounce yesterday? It bounced right at the level we had before the adjustment. Did you guys notice that? This was something that I noticed, was the fact that we came into our Monday morning with the idea of 598 being our level. Then we changed it to 596.50. And if you look at the low yesterday before that initial push down was actually 598 precisely. So 598 still obviously is a level. But I'm not going to change it back, right? I'm going to stick with this. My level is simply just the Friday high. You can see Friday high still has an important demand zone. Friday high to 597 is a big level that I'm watching. This is my big demand zone here in Qs. We gapped up, we pulled back to it. By all means right now, this is still bullish, right? A gap up in the market, pulling back into demand. When has it ever become bearish? It is not bearish yet, right? The only bearish move here on the QQQ chart would be if we got back under these set of highs, under 596.50, under 596.50, under 596.50, under 596.50. If that happens, then downside can continue back into 593.50, back into the 590s. But of course, as of right now, what are we doing? We're holding demand here, right? This is a demand hold here. This is a maintenance of demand. And if you look at names today, individual names today, you're going to see also a similar idea here, right? And particularly, this brings me into my first ticker of today's session. It's Nvidia, right? So Nvidia obviously holding really well. And before I do this, I'm going to look at the like count. How many likes do we have this morning? We have 959 viewers here this morning, and we have 365 likes. I should just end the stream. We should just call it here, call it quits. That is horrible. I should have someone said yesterday, if I have a certain, I should have a threshold of view count. If it's under a certain amount, we should just pause the stream until we get the numbers up. Guys, get to 2,000 likes. Get to 2,000 likes. Get to 2,000 likes. Guys, I'm not gonna do that. You guys know I would never do that. But just let's get the like count up. All right. So on the Nvidia chart. So you can see yesterday was about 180. So we spoke about this 180 break and retest yesterday. If you zoom into the chart, where is the break and retest? If we were watching above 180 for calls yesterday, where is the break and retest? It's right here at 4 o'clock in the morning. Well, that's where it is, right? The break and retest is at 4 o'clock in the morning. So if you are an equity trader who woke up at 3:55 in the morning today, congratulations, you just took a beautiful break and retest on Nvidia. But I sure as hell didn't, right? So this was the break, and then where's the retest? The retest is all the way back down over here at 4 a.m. in the morning at market open. Obviously, this was something that nobody could have caught yesterday, and I don't know, did anybody catch the video yesterday? Because I sure as hell did not. That today's session, where is the new? This was the long. The idea here is I will show you what happened. Right, this is the 180 break, but the long opportunity, the real long opportunity, was actually at 4 o'clock in the morning, which nobody was available to trade. Maybe there were a few of you guys, but I doubt it. So going into our morning now on Nvidia, the question becomes, what can we do in this chart? Well, if you zoom into this chart now, you're going to see we are at a very key level. Okay, and this is a level we rejected. And I'm going to count here, right? So if you guys want to pause the stream, put me in mute for a second because you're going to hate this, but I'm going to count literally how many times we rejected off this level. Once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Could you argue 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And then yesterday, 25, 26, 27. This is a 27 top, okay? This is a 27 top here in NVIDIA. I'm sure there's some ICT crazy terminology for this right now, but this is a 27 topper. This is a 27 topper. If it can break the 27 topper, we're going to rally. If it can't break the 27 topper, you know where we're going. Where have we gone the last 27 times? When we tap this level, we've gone to 174.5, 174.5, 174.5. So either at this moment, Nvidia is going to do what? It's going to either break the 170, the 184.50, which was that key technical level of resistance. You can see the 27 topper. If it can clear it, upside. But if it can't, you know where we're going. And this, in my opinion, is going to drive what the market does. If the market, if Nvidia clears 184.5, SPY is going back to all-time highs. That's just what it is today. If we can't break the level and we do another 28 topper here, we 28 top off this level, then you know where we're going. We're going back to 174.5. So this is a moment on Nvidia that is pivotal. It is a make or break moment. Let's watch what Nvidia does. If you're watching for longs, it's got to be there though. There's no environment, there's no world where I am longing right here at the 27 topper, because I'm not going to say this, oh my God, it's touched 27 times. It's got to break out this time. It's just got to do it, right? Trust me, it's different this time, right? It's different. This is the 28th time. It's different from all the previous 27 times it's tapped this level. Let's not do that, right? If you're going to go long on Nvidia, it's at the 180 or it's the break and hold above 184.5, right? That is what it is going into this Tuesday morning, right? So let's watch and see what it does here. Now, granted, I do believe, in the back of my head, I believe this is going to break the highs. I do. That's what I think. But that is my bad thought. That's a very bad thought to have in your head. And you can't act on these thoughts. Everybody has these thoughts. Everybody does. Doesn't matter how long you've been trading. But we can't go long on this until it either does the 180 pullback, which technically did at 4 o'clock in the morning, or it's above 184.5, right? That's just what it is going into this Nvidia chart, right? AMD, what's going on here, right? So this was a chart that I love for longs yesterday. Did you guys trade AMD? Did anybody trade AMD yesterday? Put a yes in the chat if you traded AMD yesterday, or put a no. Or put a no if you didn't. I'm curious what you guys did on this AMD chart. I'd be surprised if I'm gonna guess at least 5 or 6 you traded this yesterday off that AMD 162.50, right? So this was actually quite a nice break and retest. And I'll tell you guys where there was a lot of no's here. There's a lot of no's. I see 2 yeses, 3 yeses, 4 yeses, 5 yeses, and like 90% no's. All right, so on this chart, you can see it was just a break and hold, a break and retest of 162.5, right? So unlike Nvidia, this actually presented some opportunity, right? So you can see here, we broke out, we tested the level, we tested the level, we tested the level, and then we continued, right? So this was actually a very nice classic break and retest going into our Monday morning. Now you can see that we failed, right? We failed the level, we faded the whole level of support. And now where are we? We are back underneath the same level here, 162.5. And if there has become anything that is becoming more and more apparent here at AMD, it's the fact that it needs to break and hold above 165, right? This is the level. Let's not forget. We do not forget this. We know that this keeps happening over and over and over again. It clears 162.5, it goes into the train central, and it goes right back down Metro North. So if you're looking for anything here on AMD, it's got to be a break and hold above 164.5, above 165, really. If it can clear that, that's where you get the free flowing move. And that's why AMD has not been free flowing. It's not been free flowing because we have not given much emphasis on this 165. And I think we must do that because you're seeing how important it is. So if you're a long AMD at 162.5 again today, you know, get the hell out by 165 because this is still a big level of resistance. It has to clear that for more free flowing longs. If it does, this is an A+ setup. Above 165 is A+ setup to 171, right? Let's move on. We're going way too slow today. SMH, I don't have anything here. To be honest with you, I don't have any read here. I don't know what's going on here. It's just kind of rallying higher, back into supply, a little pop and fade at 325 yesterday. I think this needs to go back and test demand below. I would argue 319 is the next key demand has to test. So expect a pullback today. Expect 319 as a pullback. That's what I would be looking for today here on the SMH, right? Intel 33. If you are a small cap trader, watch. Would you call Intel a small cap? I don't think I would call Intel a small cap. I don't think it is. What is the actual market cap? I shouldn't say that. I don't know. I don't know what the market cap of Intel is, but I don't think it's small cap considered. I think it might be just like a mid cap name. But if you are a smaller stock trader, right, Intel, INDC, 33 is your key level here. 33 is your big level of support. You have a high produced here, high produced here. If you're watching for anything in Intel, this is a 33 beautiful breaking radius long. This could actually be a trade to take. Now, granted, will I signal this? No, I'm not going to signal this, right? This is a trade that you guys have taken your own because this is going to be low liquidity. It's not going to be great liquidity, but you can trade this on your own, right? INTC 33 breaking retest is a valid trade. Let's see how this presents going into our Tuesday morning, okay? This is actually a nice ticker to watch. If this were Nvidia, if this were Nvidia's chart, right? You just scrapped everything. You said this is Nvidia. I would trade this today, right? And that I think is an important thing to say, okay? Let's move on. Let's go over Avgo. Avgo chart kind of cooked here, right? This is a chart that got cooked. It was actually, I actually liked it long low 340. It didn't break 340. It just failed aggressively yesterday. We're back under that 331 level. We were actually back in the gap fill, which to me is interesting. What's going to happen here? Oh, still here 999. Thank you, much appreciated. Also, Burmy Trader, and Burmy Trader said Lyft, LYFT, and TTD. Yes, I'll go over both those tickers today. I'll take a look at both of them for you. Anyway, thank you both. Still here 999 and Burmy, much appreciated. Yeah, I mean, this isn't gap fill, right? To me, this isn't gap fill. This is kind of win-whamming both sides now. Is this a short to watch? To be honest with you, it may be, right? If this is a retest rejection here at 331 on Avgo, let's not forget the fact that there is a massive gap to fill, right? The gap to fill all the way back in the 308, 309. So if you're watching for anything here on Avgo, I would say the safest move is going to be a short side play under 327.50. So under these lows here, 327.5 for shorts. If you break that break, retest short downside move. Why am I saying that? Because there is no volume, no traded volume in this zone. Very low traded volume in this zone. So if we break under 327.5, downside back into 308, 309. Okay, that's what I'm watching today here on Avgo's chart. Let's move on. Tesla. Tesla, look at this candle here. This is actually what I'm going to say here is look at this candle. I just smacked the mic. Did you guys hear that? Hopefully it was not crazy. That was probably absolutely crazy. Anyway, so Tesla produced a very weak candle yesterday, and this is a very weak daily candle. I don't like this right now, to be honest. This is the most important thing is if you're going to trade this chart today, do this. This is the most important thing. Chart the low, chart the high of that doji candle, okay? Do that. And anything in between the zone is my dead zone. I don't get involved in this zone. If you're looking for longs, it's got to be above the 451. If you're looking for shorts, it could be under that low right here. That's what it is today here on Tesla. Tesla is not looking hot this morning. It's not looking hot, right? The market's moving up and Tesla is maintaining not too well, okay? And the reason why is because you have a pretty negative sentiment off that daily candle. So be careful of that daily candle. Again, I'm probably no intention of trading Tesla today, but for me, if I'm looking at this chart, it's not instilling confidence to go long until we get back above that 451, right? That's what it is today here on Tesla's chart. Let's go over Apple on the Apple chart. Apple chart is still bullish, right? Apple chart's still bullish. I want Apple above these highs, 259 for longs or the 249 pullback. I've been saying the same thing day in and day out. Nothing has changed since then. Burmy wanted Lyft. I'm going to go over Lyft for a second. A little bit of a change in scenery here. On the Lyft chart, you can see that we just have a beautiful bull flag, right? So this is just a bull flag on Lyft. I think that's all it is. I know there was a catalyst on the Waymo cars with Lyft, so that's why it moved higher. That was a big, crazy impulse move on Tuesday, the 16th. I believe it was the Waymo Lyft partnership, which caused that upside. Now, this is still bullish. Let's not change this, right? This is still bullish. 23 breaks. This goes back into highs here, right? So if you're looking for anything, look for the bull flag play to set up. It's bullish as long as it's holding 21.2. Okay, that's the low. 21.2 is a bull flag low. As long as it's holding that 21.2, that's your stop. So if you're long equity, you're long shares, or long swing, whatever it is, right? This is your stop loss. It's simply just 21, right? 21.2 is your stop loss. Right there should be your stop, okay? So that's what it is here on the Lyft chart. Let's move on. CrowdStrike, CRWD. you know what? I'm actually going to avoid CrowdStrike. We'll go back to this one later. I'm going to do MU. MU is 160 maintained, 170 as key demand, as key supply above us. Nothing crazy here on MU, right? So you have demand below and supply above. So let's go over a few more. Let's go over a few more. What else are you guys watching? It's 9:03. We have time for a few more. Meta. I always say the same thing on Meta. But you can see here, Meta's just hovering around demand, right? You can see it's at that channel low here this morning. 739 is that channel low. 739. 748 is the channel high, or not the channel high. The channel high is all over here, right? So 790 is the channel high. Is this a long here on Meta? Potentially, okay? If you're looking for a long, it's got to break this trend. So if you can break this downtrend, maybe reclaim 748, this could be a long today, right? It could be a long on this uptrend break, or the downtrend break, but it would have to clear this level. Like for me to get involved here, it would take a lot, right? But I would argue probably 749 today. That would give me confidence to go long. That would instill confidence to go long in this chart. 749 would be the break that I'd want to see. And that would be basically just a break above PDH, right? So really 750. 750 is a level, right? So 750, if it reclaimed there, that's my move to go long, right? Let's go over a few more. We have some time to go over a few more today. I feel like I'm missing something big. Amazon not doing much. I feel like there's just been no updates here in Amazon, so nothing really to discuss here in this chart. It's just channeling, right? 225 rejection is still valid if you do push into there. 225 I'm watching. CRWV, Coreweave is big. Coreweave, let's go over Coreweave. So Coreweave, yeah, it is big, right? This is absolutely big. This is a beautiful bull flag, right? So this is absolutely big, and I agree with you. This is a chart that you could probably watch for continuation. I would say if it can build above 138, right? If it can build above these set of highs over here, right? That is where I would expect upside back into 154. So if you're watching for anything on Coreweave, you're watching for the, I mean, it's going to be this. You're either going to be long here, right, at the 125s, or you're going to be long above 139, right? 138, really, 138. So either this or this. And I would prefer, to be honest with you, on these momentum names, these names that move with a lot of momentum, I want to be long above 138. That's where I would be involved. 138, break and retest, I'd watch for longs there, okay? And that's all I'm watching today here on Coreweave, right? So guys, there was one ticker I said I was going to do. I said, what was Burmy? Burmy said Lyft, and there was one other ticker that Burmy said. I wanted to go, I forget what it was. Was it TTD? It was TTD, right? I think it was TTD. I'll go over TTD. I'll go over that. It might have been TTD. So on the TTD chart, I want to go to the daily for this because something's going on here. And yeah, I'm right. So something's going on here in the daily. 43, this major demand here is maintaining. And I think that is the play here on TTD, right? Don't get caught in the short term here. TTD is a daily demand here. Okay, so is this the potential long here? I think yes, it is, right? If you're looking for longs on this chart, you're probably longing the 43s with a stop under 40. Okay, so that is what I'd be looking for here on TTD, where you're longing the 43s with a stop under 40. Now, granted, I don't know much about TTD long term. I don't know much about the financials here. I don't know anything but the fundamentals here on TTD. So don't quote me in this one, right? But if I like the financials on this chart, I would be looking for an equity play here at 43 with the stop under 40, looking for upside. And to be honest with you, I think you should already be in this. It's already up probably $7 from that 43 point. So it's a little bit delayed now, but there still is opportunity. And if you look at this chart, above 5660, right, is a beautiful gap fill back into the upper 80s. So you can watch that. I mean, this is a beautiful gap fill play here into basically $30 upside here above 56. So either above 56 or the best play is going to be the long back into demand here, which is held multiple times before, right? This is a mega spot here on TTD. So I would be mostly focused on long term here. This is a chart you're watching, focus on long term. Guys, are you already in TTD? If you guys are already in TTD, you're great, right? You're already seeing a beautiful maintenance of demand here. You're fine, right? You're absolutely fine. This is a chart you should already be in. That makes sense. I was kind of looking at the chart. It is a chart you should already be in. Guys, Thank you all for joining in. Awesome. This has been an awesome stream. Let's keep pushing it. We had a good day yesterday. Let's keep having good days. We should just keep with the momentum, and that's just simply what it is. Trade safe, trade smart. It's 10 o'clock. Don't be like me yesterday, right? Don't be like me yesterday in a trade before 10 o'clock, getting out before 10. It messes up with the rhythm of your trading, right? I would argue the best thing we can do today is wait till post 10 o'clock. Now, granted, if I end up taking a trade before 10 o'clock, don't yell at me, but it is what it is, right? The best trades are going to be after 10, okay? That's what it is today's session. So trade safe, trade smart, and I'll see you guys all for live trading. Bye, guys.